Hey boys and girls, today we are going to have a revision on the unemployment rate. Okay, actually before everything, we have to understand that how many parts in this topic, and actually there's only three parts only. First part, we will talk about the identification of the populations. In that case, we will go through about what is employed, unemployed, labor force, something like that, and then we will go to the second part, which is easy. I will just give a one star to the difficulties, which is the cause of unemployment. We just to require to still understand that there's only individuals or the society or the government, they are the stakeholders about unemployment. And then the last part, I will give you a 3 star difficulties, okay, the most challenging part, which is the change of the unemployment rate. Okay, so let's go through this. The first part, which is the identification of the populations. Okay, simply, I just let's say this is a country Jew. Okay, I'm the king here. Okay, so let's say in this country kingdom. Okay, just only have a five people there, and these 5 people, I would say that this is total population. Okay, total population equal to 5. Simple. Okay, and then in this amount of these people, some of them they are not willing or able to work. For example, they are still students just like you, right? You are not willing or able to work full time, right? So in this case, we would call them or call you, okay, non-labor force. Oh, the force is missing. Okay, in case, just let's say one of you is this non-labor force. Okay, so non-labor force equal to 1, and then 4 of them, they are willing or able to work, so we call these people labor force. Okay, equal to 4. And then the next part, okay, among all the people who are willing to work, but not all people are so lucky, right? Some of them they can find a job, some of them do not, right? So let's say three of them can find a job. So 3 of them, we call them employed population, which is equal to 3 people can find a job. And then the one left who cannot find, we call him unemployed population. Okay, which is equal to 1. Okay, so in this case, we'll find all 5 people, they have their own name, right? But unluckily, there's still one more case. Among the 3 people who are being employed, some of them they may be not so that lucky, because even they can find a job, but they want to work more. However, they cannot work. Okay, they just work less than 35 hours per week. Okay, in this case, we call them, especially he's unintentionally. That means he want to work more. However, he cannot find a employer to hire him for more than 35 hours. Okay, in this case, we call that underemployed. Okay, simple, right? So remember, in this chapter, we have for some MC questions. You remember, so just go back to the notes, find the example questions, and also there will be some short questions. Okay, in the short question, please remember, I just will give you a case. For example, I just said, oh, that is a full-time student. Is he a unemployed populations? And then you have to explain to me by definitions. Okay, for example, if the question asks you whether it's unemployed, so you have to state the definition of unemployed population. Okay, and then you have to explain in this case why the full-time student is not unemployed. Okay, by your ratings, go back to the notes or in the exercise and the quiz before, and then you can find some examples. Okay, then we go to the second part, which is the more easiest part. Okay, and in this part we talk about the cause of unemployment, and we remember there are several stakeholders. First, for the unemployed, simple. I just show you about the marks, right? The first mark will be the point. For example, if you talk about individuals, they lose their job. they lose their job 1 mark, and the other mark is explaining why these unemployed people is more likely to lose their job because their working experience cannot be accumulated. Okay, they do not, they cannot train their skill. They can gain more experience by work. Okay, so for later on in the future, their chance to get a new job is less likely. Okay, and then we go to the second one, which is a working population. Working population is simple. Not it's quite confusing because they are not being unemployed. Why they suffer? Actually, they suffer from the competitions. Okay, because those people who are unemployed, they will compete for the jobs, and then they will offer a lower salary to their employer. That's why for the working population, they will have a competition from these people, so they have a downward pressure on their salaries. Okay, even they still get a job, and on the other hand, because their employer do not employ so much people, so the shortage of manpower in their office or in their company will lead to their workload become higher. Okay, and then second about the about the government. Government simple because when there is some people is being employed in the society, the government have the role to support these people. But by supporting them, they have to offer some benefits, right? Including some cash subsidies, or including some living houses or temporary house. Okay, so all of these will increase the financial burden of the government. Then for the society, simple. Society, they, from the aspects of society, they will look at the human resources of the society, whether the output can be maximized. Okay, whether we can have the most output, and then we can enjoy more goods or services. And then also because unemployed people, they lost their income, so they have to find a new way to get some income. One of them, which is by grabbing or doing fraud crime, okay, admitting crime. So the crime rate will increase, and the standard of the public order will be lower. Okay, so something like that is just memorizing. You can find these in your notes. Then the last part is about the most challenging part, which is the change of unemployment rate. In this part, you have to understand several things. Okay, the most important thing is the equation of unemployment rate, which is unemployed population over the labor force times 100%. Okay, this equation is very important because in every single short questions, you have to state this equation in order to explain. Okay, so remember to memorize this. This helps you to get at least 1 mark. Okay, and then secondly, actually there's two main scenarios. Okay, the first scenario is that there will be a case that shows you there's a change in the labor force or the unemployed. Okay, only one of them will be changing, and one of them will be unchanged. And the other and the second scenario, there will be both of them, they will changing. Okay, so let's see what happened. Here we have an example, and let's go through this first. Suppose a number of civil servants retired. Okay, some civil servant retired under the government voluntary retirement scheme, which means that this job will be eliminated. Okay, that means that no people will refill their jobs. Okay, so what happened? Whether it will increase the unemployment rate, whether it will increase the unemployment rate of Hong Kong. Okay, so here is the case. So what should we do before we write down the answer? We should do some analysis. Actually, unemployment rate is only two elements, right? So just look here. Only talk about unemployed population and labor force. So here, look at the question to find out whether the labor force will change and find out whether the unemployed population will change. Okay, civil servant retired. Retirement, they are not unemployed, right? after their retirement, they are not willing to work anymore. They will become non-labor force, right? Non-labor force. Before that, they are labor force, become non-labor force. That means labor force will decrease. Okay, and how about the unemployed? Unemployed, unemployed. Here, we found that because after the retirement of the civil service, there is no unemployed person can get a job because of their retirement. So that's why unemployed being unchanged. Okay, so we found the we found the changes of the labor force and unemployed, and then we can do the questions. Okay, so here, actually, we have the list. You have to list out the formula first or the equation first. Unemployed, and then labor force. Okay, here we know that unemployed unchanged, labor force decrease. So what happened to the unemployment rate? It will find that there will be increase. Okay, so after that, how do we get the full mass? Because the full mass, there will be 4 mass. Okay, here I show you the answering steps. First mark, that will be the shoulder to state the formula of the unemployment rate. What mark? And secondly, you just show me what happened to the labor force. Okay, but remember to list or to refer to the case. Okay, which part will let us know what happened to the labor force, and then secondly, which part will let us know about what happened to the unemployed populations, and then conclusion, what happened to the unemployment rate. Okay, that will be 4 marks. So some a sample answer is here. You can refer to that, and actually you can find it in the exercise. Okay, I give you several questions as your example. And then the second part here is that the labor force and the unemployed, they change together. If they change together, that will be we have to be very careful, because there were 2 scenarios. First, if they change together, to check whether the amount or the quantity or the number, the number of people are the same. Okay, that means if there's 10 people who are being unemployed, then is that the labor force increased by 10 at the same time or more than 10? So if they are the same, then the answer will be confirmed or assert it will be known. Okay, so let's see some here, some university graduates looking for jobs. That means labor force increase. Okay, they change from full-time student to the labor force, right? And then assume all of them they cannot find a job, and here one magic word, all of them. If it is 10 graduates, then 10 of them can be unemployed, so they will be the same. So and then that means we know that unemployed increase together. Okay, increased by 10. Okay, so what happened here? The example, first part the same, which is to state we have state the equations, and then the second part we have to analyze what happened to the labor force and unemployed populations. Okay, and one keyword is we found that they are the same number of increase. Okay, in the labor force and unemployed populations. And what happened? So actually, by theory, if the labor force, most likely if the labor force is 100 people, and unemployed most likely is less than the labor force. So what happened? Before these things happened, we found that here is 10% unemployment rate. So if I said that there's 10 graduates and then 10 of them be unemployed, so what happened? It will become 20 and 100 and 10. Okay, so it will be more likely to be, it will become 18%. So actually it increased, right? So that's why if we do unemployment rate will increase. But how do we explain this? This because the percentage increase in unemployed population, that means the upper part, and then is greater than the percentage increase in labor force, which is the lower part here. Okay, because 10 compared to 100, 10 is only increased by 10%, compared to 10 increased by 10, which is increased by 100%. So that's the logic. However, if you just want to get the full marks, that will be simple. You just know how to write down these answers. Okay, so you also can find more examples in the notes. Okay, and also the exercise. So work hard, boys and girls. If you have any question, just let me know.